Hello, I'm just going to give you a quick update as to what's happened today to Gracie. As you can see, I've got the sills mocked up on this on the driver's side. I'll go into a little bit more detail in a few minutes, but just to give you an understanding of what happens, this panel is the quarter panel. That eventually, similar to what's going to happen with the wing, I'm going to mark it across there and step it down 10mm. But this one is going to be joggled, so I don't know if you can see. So this original panel is going to sit proud over the top of the replacement panel, and then it's going to be nicely welded along there. That's the plan anyway. On the other side, on this panel here, you can see where it needs to be let in slightly. So once that panel is cut, that will give me the thickness of that to drop back in behind the original panel, and then continue the welds. This B post, I was going to replace it, but when I look at it, it's not actually that bad. It looks a bit scabby, but it is quite solid. So I'm going to leave that and just put a skimmer filler or whatever over it once it's welded up. And then this sill panel, there's a trim finisher to go on there. I'm unsure of of what actually is going to happen here, because this outer sill runs along and it seems to have a bit of a gap. I don't know why that is. I thought it would have fallen flush with the bottom of that, but I'll have to check. It may just be that the bottom of this B post just want relieving, just to drop it up. In fact, looking at it, I think that's the case, where it's been welded previously. But anyway, continuing on. So we have the boxing panel in place where it should be, and as I was saying, because of the get comfortable, right? Because I didn't want to mess about with the hinge panel. So this is my datum point. Everything I've measured is from here. You know, I've not touched that. It's been welded into these brace bars. I've got 2 brace bars, so that has never moved since I've started work on the car. I have cut out some of the rot around the bottom, so my intention is to plate that down to the original sill. If you just look there, you can see there's a bit of a gap, but all that is this panel just returns to that lip there, so it'll return to there, and then it'll all be welded up. Just to give you an idea of what it was like. So this is the piece that I've cut out, and you can see the section of sill that was on it, and then it just returned. So if you imagine we're going to replicate something like that on that corner, and then that will be hopefully look a bit nicer than that. So the bottom of that sill just wants to come out a bit. What I have noticed is the new boxing panel is 5mm shallower than the original. So although I've set it all up at the moment, I think it all needs to drop down by 5mm, which has caused me some issues actually. And I'll get to that now. So originally, this panel here was the top of the original boxing panel, and as I've said, I couldn't get in to remove. There's a spot weld directly behind this panel, so I couldn't get in to remove it. So I've decided to cut this boxing panel to suit. But now that I've realised with this 5mm of a difference, it's caused me an issue. I still have the other piece, so I can always weld it back up again. So yeah, so the makeup of it is we have the boxing panel, the outer sill, and then if you see in there we have the inner sill. I'll see if you can see it from underneath. So the inner sill then runs along. I've kind of cheated a bit. I've made a floor panel to go in. I've worked it out. It's, to be honest with you, the floors are in quite good nick. So rather than cut them all out again, I've made a repair panel. So the repair panel runs along. I've seam welded it along this inner sill here. So it's just going to be another 5-inch piece that runs down there, and that will solve it. Everything else on the floor, although it looks a bit scabby, is fine. I'll see what the other side is like when I get over there. So the reason I've stopped here is because under here is the cross member. The cross member is goosed, but you can buy a repair panel. So I'll show you that while I'm here. So I don't know if you can see the end of it is knackered, but I think you can buy a repair panel which takes it back over to there, but looking at it there's not a great deal to it, so I might just make up this end piece. It's going to be welded back onto the sill anyway, so I'll think about that one. Yeah, so this is like your inner sill then, this piece that runs along here. So that's, again, I'm going to seam weld that all the way along, and which in turn will then create the edge for my wheel arch. I don't know if you might not be able to see that, but this is going to be the edge of my wheel arch. This panel I've left like that deliberately so I know where I can cut it, and then just make good the wheel arch on that side. Make that up, panel down there, get it painted. So yeah, so that's it for now. Oh, and one more thing. Yeah, so as you can see, the outer panel, the outer sill, and then the boxing plate, and then you have the inner sill, which, as I say, will make up the arch. But I've left this plate in just so it can be trimmed, and then I can weld it on there and weld it further up. This is going to cause me some issues. I really can't believe I've messed it up like that, but it really wants welding there, but I can weld it. I can weld the piece back on, and then just a repair panel on the bottom. So that needs to pull out to there and repair panel onto there. It might just want to pull forward a bit, obviously, because I've got that issue back there with the with this trim panel, where this trim panel bolts on. I think it needs to come this way, or it needs to go up, which hopefully will. It's all up to my measurements anyway, so I'll take it from there. But yeah, so I've put a floor panel in, a bit rough, but nobody's going to see it under the carpet. Main thing is it's strong, and mocked up the sills. I can tack weld them all tomorrow and see where we're up to. Okay, cheers, bye.